There shouldn't be much more that needs to be said than what this title states. Generals warn of divided military and possible civil war in next U.S. coup attempt. In quotes now, some might follow orders from the rightful commander-in-chief while others might follow the Trumpian loser, which could trigger civil war, the generals wrote. Now that should be enough, right? But no. This is the third occurrence within about a week's time that articles just like this have come out. Why? Because they know that the midterms and 2024 will be an absolute disaster. So the call to action that they are putting forth is bone-chilling, to say the least. I'm going to go through just 2 articles for you. I'm going to tell you exactly what was stated and why this is grave cause for concern for each and every one of us. Anybody on the right, if you want to call it that, puts out anything near to this, they would be shut down, banned, profiled by the FBI, and somebody be knocking on their front door. But for the leftists, it's perfectly okay. Now, we're going to get to that information very quickly, but before I do, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I certainly hope you will. Lisa will put a link just above. Thank you so much for allowing me to fill in. And Lisa wanted me to give a shout out to her sponsor, PrepareWithLisa.com. There she is in the center of your screen. How can you refuse? Save $100 off each 3-month emergency food kit. Just going down on the website. An amazing company, amazing sponsor, My Patriot Supply. This 3-month emergency food supply kit, based on what I'm about to tell you, it becomes more appropriate than ever. Again, $100 off. Amazing company, amazing sponsor. Again, that is PrepareWithLisa.com. Also, if you haven't gone to our website, which is RestrictedRepublic.com, we certainly hope you will. Very special offer right now, Christmas 21 at monthly checkout. You saw the catalog flashing before your eyes, and what we're doing now is giving you 45 days for $1. Once again, RestrictedRepublic.com, Christmas 21 at monthly checkout. Now let's get on with this broadcast. So you saw the title. We're going to toggle between 2 articles here. First, on the Washington Post, an opinion piece, 3 retired generals. The military must prepare now for a 2024 insurrection. And this article on The Atlantic, Trump's next coup has already begun. Why do we use The Atlantic? Because The Atlantic gives you all the telltale signs to what's coming. It's become the leftist manifesto, a play-by-play action plan on what they're proposing and where they're heading. And that's why you have to stay engaged within that information. But what are they so afraid of? They're afraid of scenes like this coming out of Houston. They're afraid of how much support is out there. They're afraid of this. That's unacceptable. How can he still have support in that number? Oh, wait, they diffused it. That's right. He didn't sell 200 tickets in a stadium that holds over 10,000. Yeah, that was really what they attempted to do. But let's go back to what their bigger plan is, because they told us and we research it. That's why Lisa had me come on, because I did an article, a full broadcast, and she'll put a link above on this specific topic and multiple call to actions. As we approach the first anniversary of the deadly insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, we all of us U.S. former senior military officials are increasingly concerned about the aftermath of the 2024 presidential election and the potential for lethal chaos inside our military. Now, probably not what you expected. No, the generals are calling for a purge and a cleansing of the military. I'm going to show you why I state that, which would put all Americans at severe risk. Now, to complement this story, I'm going to use an article from The Atlantic that called for, well, the unthinkable. But why they're scared, it told you specifically. Technically, the next attempt to overthrow a national election may not qualify as a coup. It will rely on subversion more than violence, although each will have its place. If the plot succeeds, the ballots cast by American voters will not decide the presidency in 2024. Thousands of votes will be thrown away, or millions to produce the required effect. The winner will be declared the loser. The loser will be certified the president-elect. So what are they stating there? If we win, we win. If we lose, we'll win. It's a very dangerous precedent to set. They're putting that seed of doubt in every American mind that even if Trump wins, he's actually the loser. But that's okay when they do it. No one else could dare do that. So we're going to toggle, again, back and forth between two articles. In short, the Washington Post, from those generals, is concerned we are chilled to our bones at the thought of a coup succeeding next time. But you just said it was the military internally that would be imploding. But I'll digress. We'll continue to read the words of the Washington Post. One of our military strengths is that it draws from our diverse population. It is a collection of individuals, all with different beliefs and backgrounds, but without constant maintenance. Without constant maintenance. What do they mean by that? The potential for a military breakdown mirroring societal or political breakdown is very real. So if we do not cleanse the military, if we do not purify the military, well, they might start battling with each other because there's two sides in the military like there's two sides in America, and that would make sense seeing that the military members come from America. But I know that's too novel a thought, I guess. 1 in 10 defendants from U.S. Capitol insurrection have military ties. They've been prepping for this for some time now. Former military leaders criticize the election and the administration. That hurts the military's reputation. You see, they've been telling you what they're going to do. This is unacceptable. There can be no dissent. There can only be one side in politics. There can only be one side in military. That's what they want, because then they control everything, don't they? Oklahoma Guard commander defends rejecting mandate as Pentagon warns troops who refuse. You see, you can't have that. There could be no dissension. And now the Washington Post goes even into more cryptic details. The potential for a total breakdown of the chain of command along partisan lines from the top of the chain to squad level is significant should another insurrection occur. The idea of rogue units organizing amongst themselves to support the rightful commander-in-chief cannot be dismissed. The military will divide. The Atlantic says the same. Who or what will safeguard our constitutional order is not apparent today. It is not even apparent who will try. Democrats, big and small d, are not behaving as if they believe the threat is real. Some of them, including President Joe Biden, have taken passing rhetorical notice, but their attention wanders. They are making a grievous mistake, and that can't be allowed. We have to clean it up. Imagine competing commanders-in-chief, a newly re-elected Biden giving orders versus Trump or another Trumpian figure issuing orders as the head of a shadow government. This is the words coming out of the Washington Post now. Worse, imagine politicians at the state and federal levels illegally installing a losing candidate as president. What did they do there? Because of all the gerrymandering and moves that the Republicans have finally made to make sure their officials are elected in multiple states, the midterms is going to be a disaster for the Democrats. We know that. So they're preparing and putting in the seeds of doubt that any of those candidates are legitimate, even though their legitimacy gives them the right and the law within their states to go ahead and control elements of the election. The Washington Post is saying, no. Every move that they make is going to be installing a losing candidate, a false candidate, and we have to have military support against that. That's the ideas they're presenting. The Atlantic's doing the same thing. We face a serious risk that American democracy as we know it will come to an end in 2024, he said. But urgent action is not happening. 2 urgent calls for action. Under such a scenario, it is not outlandish to say a military breakdown could lead to civil war. Washington Post taking it to a whole different level. With the country still as divided as ever, we must take steps to prepare for the worst, the Washington Post states. For more than a year now, with tactic and explicit support for their party's national leaders, state Republican operatives have been building an apparatus of election theft. They go through the states, they're painting the picture for you. They're brewing up the dissent between the parties, dividing the nation like they do so efficiently, this intelligence apparatus of the Washington Post and the Atlantic. First, everything must be done to prevent another insurrection. Not a single leader who inspired it has been held to account. Our elected officials and those who enforce the law, including the Justice Department, the House Select Committee, and the whole of Congress, must show more urgency. Plan. Prepare. But the military cannot wait for elected officials to act. Whoa now. Everybody slow down. The Washington Post is going off the rails. The Pentagon should immediately order a civics review for all members, uniformed and civilian, on the Constitution and electoral integrity. There must also be a review of the laws of war and how to identify and deal with illegal orders. And it must reinforce unity of command to make perfectly clear to every member of the Defense Department whom they answer to. No service member should say they didn't understand whom to take orders for during a worst-case scenario. Just stew on that for a second. They're calling for a purge of the military. You will know who you report to. You will not listen to any other orders but the ones we're going to give you. And when we give it, you'll execute them flawlessly and immediately. You can't make this up. It's what was printed. By way of foundation for all the rest, and I left the title up on top so I don't have to keep reading it to you so you know which article I'm pulling from. Trump and his party have convinced the dauntingly large number of Americans that the essential workings of democracy are corrupt and the made-up claims of fraud are true. The only cheating can thwart their victory at the polls, that tyranny has usurped their government, and that violence is a legitimate response. In addition, all military branches must undertake more intensive intelligence work at all installations. The goal should be to identify, isolate, and remove potential mutineers, guard against efforts by propagandists to use misinformation to subvert the chain of command, and understand how that and other misinformation spreads across the ranks after it is introduced by propagandists. I don't even recognize the face of this country right now. Those words are coming out of U.S. generals. What are they preparing for? You cannot make enough of this article. Finally, the Defense Department should war game the next potential post-election insurrection or coup attempt to identify weak spots. It must then conduct a top-down debrief of its findings and begin putting in place safeguards to prevent breakdowns, not just in military, but also in an agency that works hand in hand with the military. Because even in defeat, Trump has gained strength for a second attempt to seize office. But wait till what the Atlantic admits at the end of their article, by the way. Just hold on for that. After the polls close on November 5th, 2024, it may appear otherwise. After all, he's no longer commands the executive branch, which he tried and mostly failed to enlist in his first coup attempt. We'd like to see the evidence of that. Yet the balance of the power is shifting his way in arenas that matter more. Trump has reconquered his party by setting its base on fire. Tens of millions of Americans perceive their word through black clouds of his smoke. His deepest source of strength is the bitter grievance of Republican voters that they lost the White House, that they are losing their country to alien forces with no legitimate claim to power. This is not some transient or loosely committed population. Trump has built the first American mass political movement in the past century that is ready to fight by any means necessary, including bloodshed for its costs. This is, my friends, a call to grave action. The Atlantic, the Washington Post are painting everyone in a corner. They are painting everyone in a corner. You say one thing out of line, and they're going to quash you in a heartbeat. That's what's being outlined here. This really is a new politically violent mass movement. This really is a new politically violent mass movement. No dissent. Donald Trump came closer than anyone thought he could to toppling a free election a year ago. He is preparing in plain view to do it again, and they're preparing against it, even if legitimately elected, I contest. Because at the end of their article, they admit that Donald Trump may be capable of winning a fair election in 2024. He does not intend to take that chance. They know his probability of winning is beyond their imagination, so they're going to paint the picture that the way he got there was only through insurrection. And so that insurrection must be quashed. It must be ended. Military generals coming out and saying exactly how they're going to do that. We must purge the military because the military and lawmakers have been gifted hindsight to prevent another insurrection from happening in 2024. But they will succeed only if they take decisive action now. You see, you don't need my opinion for any of this. The Washington Post and Atlantic gave it to you. Through these two articles, Trump's next coup has already begun. I just want people to read these articles verbatim. And this opinion, 3 retired generals, the military must prepare now for a 2024 insurrection. You want to give it some additional color? Just go forward to the big, ugly truth that Biden cannot conceal from the world about the U.S. I've spent hours on these articles. Because, as the Washington Post says, admittedly, the answer to this isn't obvious, but casting the problem as a failure of persuasion, as if Biden need only find the magic words to tamp down domestic autocracy or inspire a popular mobilization to overwhelm the threat. May only facilitate this dodge, giving Biden something public to say, enabling further evasion of the need to commit to forceful action against it. If I was a lawyer, I presented my case to the jury. A jury of our peers, of our citizens, to show what the Washington Post, the Atlantic, and these U.S. military generals are calling for specifically. Bone-chilling words, bone-chilling statements, but 100% reality of what they will continue to build up to for the next 2 years. They will be working to paint each and every dissenter in a corner to assure that no matter what they do, it will be called insurrection activity, and they will be prepared to take action against it. That is what is at stake. My friends, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. Again, filling in for Lisa Haven. I can't thank you enough. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I certainly hope you will. If you haven't subscribed to Lisa's channel, I certainly hope you will. We love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.